Hello, welcome to another edition of Pub Shed and Home Bar Sessions. It's a part of Ale Audio podcast, but obviously you can also listen to this separately on its separate podcast, Pub Shed and Home Bar Sessions, and you can see it on YouTube as well. Very pleased to say that we have got another member of our Pub Shed community on board today to have a chat with. And I've been looking forward to chatting with them for a while. They kind of sprung onto the scene maybe in the last, I'm guessing around 6 months. But they've been an amazing new member of the community, bringing lots of new interesting stuff with them as well. Lots to chat about. It's Aden from the Two Dachshunds Pub Shed. How are you doing, Aden?
Hello, how are you?
Yes, not bad, thank you.
Cool.
Thanks for joining us.
Not a problem. Pleased to be here.
And the first thing to mention about your bar is, the name is brilliant. If you've based it on the two little dogs, two Dachshunds, which I know Dave's got Dachshunds as well. So I think I'm saying that right. That's something I've learned to do since you've been on the scene. I used to call them sausage dogs, but I'm starting to say it properly now. So
we refer to them to sausage dogs, Dachshunds, Dachshunds, Doxies. Yeah,
I always thought it were Dachshunds, and then I got told on the live that we did how to say it properly. So. But anyway, they're a very welcome new member of the community as well. But yeah, tell us then, Aden, about because I know you've been around on Insta. I would guess about 6 months, maybe even a bit less than that. I'm not sure. But where did all this start for you then with your pub shed journey?
Well, it started originally probably about 12 months ago. Had a little kind of tool shed in the garden. Literally, you see on screen. Not big enough to sit in, which I just had a tap in and some sort of optics for like your spirit bottles, and it's not quite big enough to fit a fridge in, and that's what I wanted. A fridge to keep a little corny keg sort of cool. So I kind of cut a hole in the back and built a little box around it, and it worked perfect for about 2 months. And then we had a massive rainstorm and a big pile of water on top of the fridge, which isn't the best idea with electrics at the back. So I tried sealing it up, didn't work, and I just happened to come across a 10 by 8, 10 by 6 possibly shed on Facebook. I thought, you know what, I'll get that. Hired a van, went and picked up this shed, and then that's basically how it grew. It grew from a little just one tap tool shed into a 10 by 6 shed with everything in it.
Well, that's it. So that's interesting that you found the shed on like Marketplace or something like that. Was it Facebook Marketplace? So did it come? Yeah. Did you manage to get it there as it was, or was it kind of had to be flat packed down and then built back up again?
Yeah. Luckily, the guy I bought it off had already flat packed it, and he listed it the morning I saw it. So it was booking a day off work at the last minute, hiring a van. So I got a free shed, but it probably cost me £100 in van hire fees and diesel. And then as I had the van, I thought, well, I might as well buy a load of sheet wood and plasterboard. But I had the van, and then sort of bought it all back, and then realised I had nowhere dry to keep everything. So working till 11 o'clock at night, putting the shed up.
But they are, pub sheds are expensive, or like sheds in general are expensive these days. So that's an absolute steal. And like you say, you've got a very similar sort of shape bar to what mine is. It sounds like it might be slightly bigger at 10 by 8. I think you said yours is. Mine's 8 by 6. So you've got a little bit more room, which is always beneficial. The more space you can get in there. But you've done so much with the place. I'll just pop the pictures back up for our YouTube viewers. But yeah, you've done the sort of similar thing of having the walk behind bar at the back towards one side of the shed, kind of the opposite side from what I've got mine. But it does help having a walk behind bar though, doesn't it? Even though I bet you were tempted, like I was, maybe to have a push to the bar wall and almost like, I was tempted to do that for the space, but I really appreciate having that room behind now.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I wanted a walk behind bar. You can probably see, on that picture, there's one tap, in the far sort of left corner. I've got 2 taps now, but, I wanted some taps. So, I wanted to walk behind bar. I need to hide the fridge as well. So, it's a bit of a tight squeeze. If you walk behind there with just, a jumper on, not a problem. If you've got a big winter coat, it's a bit tight. But I wanted more space the other side of the bar. We've got 4 stools, so you can quite comfortably sit 4 people behind sort of the other side of the bar. So it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
And while you're on the taps, let's talk about that, because that's quite unique. I know there's a lot of people have got the proper working systems in there, like the sort of industry type ones. And then obviously we've got people with the Perfect Draft, Submachine, Pints 365. But yours is kind of like a sort of homemade sort of system, isn't it, really? Or put together in a different sort of way. And I love it. And it's very modern as well. It's kind of what you get in those, like, micro pubs and stuff like that.
That's it. It's a corny keg setup. Originally, I've got a friend who runs his own sort of mobile bar company. So I get kind of the leftover kegs. I don't have space to store the full size kegs. Winter time it's not too bad. They can go outside, can't they? But during summertime, there's nowhere to store your 80-litre kegs. So I just siphon off what's left at the end of an event, put them in my corny keg. And as long as you get your pressure right, it works well. I mean, at the moment, I've got, I tried homebrewing some lager over Christmas, which didn't quite go to plan. It tastes all right. It's a bit weak, but yeah, at the moment, that's what I'm using it for. So yes, it's a 9.5 litre corny keg, 3 meters of tubing into the taps, and then your normal sort of CO2 cylinders, which are all stored on the back of the shed. I reused the tool shed that I originally had, and that's where I keep my gas cylinder and my regulators. That's all in there, so it's not actually in the main shed, just for a bit more space.
Very good. It's a really interesting setup, and I know I saw a lot of people asking about it as well, because I think you've been keeping a bit of a blog as well, haven't you? Sort of for people who want to sort of follow some of the things that you've done.
I've noticed the amount of people that kind of are really interested in asking sort of a lot of how I've done things. I like the corny keg. I did the diesel heater a couple of weeks ago for the heating, because it was just really difficult to heat this place. I mean, I've had it on for 20 minutes tonight, and it's a bit sweaty in here now. It's 22 degrees in here, so that's how good it is. So I've written a couple of blogs sort of on my website, just to help other people out. Quite good at. I worked with diesel heaters in the past, but I'm quite good sort of at fudging things together. Making things work, and then sort of sharing that with the other community, just to kind of give back a little bit.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. I mean, and that sort of brings us nicely onto the sort of stock system that you've got to know as well, which me and Dave were talking off air before we recorded today's podcast. As people are listening to it, and we were talking about your stock system and how you shared it with him, and then you've shared it with me as well. Brilliant. So you've come up with that yourself, sort of thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously there's lots of pub sheds on Instagram, and I kind of wanted to try and do something a little different. Sort of to what everybody else was doing. I thought, it'd be nice sort of track your stats, what not just what I'm drinking or what my partner's drinking, but whoever comes around, friends and family, what are we actually sort of, if we were a real bar, we'd be selling it, wouldn't we, kind of thing. So it's just tracking that, record your types of beer, the names of them, the type, the percentage, and then obviously I work in IT. For the day job, writing sort of software applications and databases. So it literally took me probably a week to drum something up, and then I just use that at the end of the month. It just tells me what stats I've got, sort of what I've drunk, what the new beers that I've never drunk before, sort of what the new styles, and then say sort of Dave's you've had it. 2 or 3 other people as well, and that's part of it as well. It's giving back, so if there's other sort of pub sheds and home bars out there that want something like that, manage the stock or your expiry dates, just drop me a message on Instagram and sort of use it for free. It doesn't cost me anything really to run it.
Dave's been, I know, because me and Dave have spoke so many times about this, but he's been looking for some sort of stock system, not just for those sort of stat recording, which I think's brilliant, by the way. I love the sort of monthly stats that he put together. They look great. I love all that art, like the sort of, the charts and all that kind of thing, infographics and that. Love those. Dave's been just looking for something so he can keep control of what he's got and what he needs more of and stuff like that. And now he's on the Guinness as well. he's going to be using it even more. But I love how you've got the drinks menu there as well, obviously with the QR code on it, very modern like that. And then obviously something I've used. This is Taplistio, isn't it? I've used that myself. I do have that on my little. I've got like a little mini iPad screen on the wall, which is like a jukebox as well. But I do put my Taplistio on there, and that's great as well. It's pretty for as a free option. The Taplistio is great, isn't it? Because they've got like a free plan, haven't they?
They've got a free plan, and I think I'm using. They got a home brewers plan as well, possibly.
Oh, okay.
I think it used to be free, but it's only like £30 a year.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I get lots of engagement with Taplist on Instagram. But I'm a big Beavertown fan.
Yeah.
So they're my specials that I always have in. I have my taps that are on the menu, and then everything that's in the fridge. Yeah, so people that are here, they can scan the QR code because say, oh, what have you got to drink? And they're like, I haven't got a clue. The stuff that's in there for months, so they can have a look. They can see what there is, what type it is, what percentage, and they just help themselves. It's really good, and it helps because I did find out yesterday that I had a beer that had the best before date of the 2nd of January. So
exactly, yeah, it's definitely something I need.
Yeah.
I think there'll be a fair few people wanting to get old and use this. So yeah, cheers for sharing that with everybody. I mean, there's lots of nice, cool things about your pub shed. I love the sort of neon beer sign you've got behind the bar. I can see that right behind you. Is that like a Red Bull sign you've got on the bar behind you as well? Is it a sign?
It's just I cheaped out. I printed a load of coloured printout. I think there's one on the other side if I move.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I love them. Yeah,
Budweiser, Peroni, and then the dog signs. Beware of the Dachshunds and dog rules. Because the dog does rule. So,
what's the story behind the skeleton that I can see as well behind you?
So that's Jeff. It's my partner's skeleton, and doesn't like to keep it in the box.
Not his skeleton.
Not his skeleton. No. But it was either in here or in the house, so I thought, it can stay in here. It gets dressed up at Christmas time and Halloween. So
that's 2 Jeffs in the community now. We've got one that's a gorilla, and we've got one skeleton. And I think there might be another. I think there's a what's it called? I think there's like a Captain Jack Sparrow at the Pirates Cove as well as a skeleton as well. And of course, a swinging sign. Much desired by a lot of people in the pub shed community. Love a swinging sign. That looks great. And of course, the 2 mascots themselves. What are the dogs called again?
That's it. So Remus. So he's the Isabella, the grey dog at the front. And then there's Mary Jane at the back hiding under a blanket.
Very good. Nice one. Brilliant. So yeah, and we want to give a shout out to the other landlord as well, who can't be with us today, can they? But do you want to give him a shout out?
Yeah, so there's John. Unfortunately, got delayed at work. So and it's absolutely chucking down outside with rain at the moment. So I don't know about dripping wet.
We had the worst. I was in bed last night. I don't know if you've had this issue as well, but the storms this year have been terrible. I've never known a year as stormy as this one. It's so stormy you can barely even sleep, and things are blowing round. You've got neighbours' trampolines on your garden and stuff like that. I can't help when I can hear all that going off at night that the shed roof's blown off. It's horrible. It's like a nightmare.
That's it. All the way the houses are around here, I kind of live in a bit of a U shape. So you hear the wind coming around, and things blow about all the time. And I worry, is the shed going to stay up? Because funny fact, the shed isn't actually straight; it leans to one side. You can't tell when you're in it. It's just the way it was. I think the guy had it on a bit of an angle, who I bought it off. So when I put it up, I couldn't straighten it out. So my shed does lean.
That could have been another name for the pub shed as well, couldn't it? Like the leaning pub shed or something like that. Leaning
shed or something, yes.
Lean in, yeah. That could have been it. So yeah, I mean, we've got any plans for the future? Is there anything? So we always say this, but the tinkering never stops. Is there anything that you're wanting to do to the shed going forwards?
Yeah, it never stops. I want to try and sort out sort of behind the bar area a bit more. I've got a little pull-out trolley, which has kind of like cocktail making stuff, with your jiggers and your mixing and it's not quite right. It's just, everything's always in the way. So I'm going to try and sort that side out. Not long got a beer fridge again, Facebook Marketplace bargain. So
and that's what you were after, isn't it? That was the dream as well.
That was it. Yeah. Been looking for one for ages that wasn't really expensive. So yeah. So it's I'll always find things to do. There's always things, and if there's nothing to be done, I'll make something. I can do.
Was there anything that you found particularly? What was the most challenging part of getting the shed up and all the different things you've done to it? Was there anything that you found quite a challenge and that nearly tripped you up a couple of times?
The only thing I struggled with was the floor. I say I struggled, so I didn't do it. The floor was the last thing to go in. So built the shed, painted the shed, put all the plasterboard around, built the bar, put out all the electrics in, but then everything had to come out to fit the floor, and I just couldn't do the floor. So yeah, my partner did the floor, but I think that was the most challenging, because obviously the shed isn't perfectly square either, which doesn't help. So yeah, and also putting up the plasterboard on the ceiling. Yeah, that took two of us.
Yeah,
for a couple of them, three of us, because it was just the boards are quite heavy. So yeah, it's other than that, I think everything else was pretty much running the mill. Not too bad. Even the electrics, building the bar, all of that lot. Not too bad.
Well, you've got it looking great, so yeah, well done. And yeah, obviously, welcome to the Pub Shed community as well, because you've been a great addition, and it's great to see you sharing everything that you do. And also, on to music. So, if you were to, walk in there on a typical night, what kind of things might we expect to hear?
Oh, probably. I'm a bit of an indie fan, so things like the Fratellis. Sort of the Fratellis. They're one of my favorite bands. But I think, yeah, sort of one of the, I suppose, the song that kind of is all about us is "Who Let the Dogs Out" by the Baha Men. So you've got to have that.
Brilliant.
Every night in the summer. That's got to be playing.
Excellent, really like that. And on the music thing, I noticed that you've installed a audio mixer, I think, haven't you? Like so you can have your different sort of channels and different things plugged in. I bet that's really handy as well.
It is. I mean, I had a splitter originally, because I've got the iPad, which I obviously have for Spotify and the music, and then obviously I've got two. So I've got the screen up there, which has the tap list menu on, and then the big one up there for TV. But the sound out the monitor isn't great. You can hardly hear it, so I needed a bit of a mixer, an amplifier, just to boost that through the speakers. But yeah, a tiny little device off Amazon for less than £20, it completely transformed it. You can actually hear. For someone who's partially deaf, like myself, it definitely helps.
Brilliant. And yeah, it's been great to chat with you. And thank you, by the way, for supporting the cause at Christmas. And you got yourself a Christmas jumper.
Oh, I did, yes, yeah.
It was great to see you spreading the cheer and beer out and about local. Because you live in Shropshire, don't you?
I do, yes. Yeah, I do.
Is that where you've always been from as well?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Hertfordshire. I moved up in I was 4. So I've been up here now, 32 years. So sort of Oswestry, which is about 20 miles away from here. So yeah, I'm in Shrewsbury, so I'm only 10 miles from Kev at the Glory Hole. He's only down the road from me.
Yeah, so, of course you are, yeah.
So yeah, we've messaged that we probably need to do a meetup at some point. So
he's got a microphone now, so he can come he can visit yours as a roaming reporter as well. If you can you might, in fact, you know what? He struggled with his microphone. He might have to take it to you, and you can show him how to use it.
Oh, yes. I am the IT whiz.
There we go. Yeah, you are the IT whiz of the community now. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, great stuff. Have you got any favourite haunts that you go to around there when you're not in the pub shed, or anywhere in particular you like to go to?
House of Grain. That's my favourite place. Sort of a little independent bar. So they do everything there. Lagers, beers, IPAs, cocktails. If you want it, they've got it. So that's pretty much the only place I really go, other than here.
Brilliant, good stuff. And right then, what song shall we finish with? I mean, I don't know if you've already said it, because I know you mentioned one already. But what song shall we choose to play for you that represents yourself and your home bar?
Yeah, I have already said it, but you can never have too much of it. So it's "Who Let the Dogs Out" by the Baha Men.
Brilliant. Cheers. Thanks, Aden, of the Two Dachshunds Pub Shed. Pleasure chatting with you.
And you.